بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. Are you studying Surah Al-Mulk this Ramadan? Come, take a seat. Let me show you something really cool now on Quran.com. If you open up Surah Al-Mulk, we have a tab here called Layers. If you click that, it opens up the new study mode with lots of new features and content. And here is a translation which I have had the honor of working on based on a tafsir which is by Muhammad al-Tahir ibn Ashur. Supremely blessed is he who holds all sovereignty and who is capable of all things. Now this is no ordinary translation because this is an interactive feature tailored to the digital age. If you click here, expand tafsir, you find some more clarity. Supremely blessed and praiseworthy is he who holds all true sovereignty, and who, unlike the false deities, is capable of every potential and has power over all things. And you can click here even if you want to see some more in a footnote. But for now, let me show you something else that's really important about this translation. You see this underline, who holds all true sovereignty? That is just one of the meanings that these words and this phrase contain. If we click it, we can find another translation, which is also based on the same tafsir. Al-Tahir ibn Ashur has told us that this means also by whose hand the kingdom exists, بِيَدِهِ الْمُلْك. And what's really nice about this is that these are two complementary meanings given by the Arabic words and grammar. And in fact, they are related together. The fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created all the kingdom is exactly why He holds all sovereignty and authority therein. Cool, huh? الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. You're back to learn more about Surah Al-Mulk? Come sit down. On Quran.com we now have a new translation found here under the tab called Layers. If you open up Surah Al-Mulk, we can look at ayah number 2, click on Layers, and here is a translation that I've worked on based on the tafsir of Muhammad al-Tahir ibn Ashur. He who created death and life to make it known which of you are better in action, and He is the mighty, the forgiving. But you will really understand this when you click expand tafsir. And now we've got words in between which help to flesh out that meaning, to give us more connection and understanding. He who showed this power from the previous ayah, when He created death and life, including in you humans, to make it known which of you are better and worse in action in this life. And when you return to Him after death, He is the mighty in retribution, the forgiving towards sincere servants. So you can also click on this line to see other meanings that are contained within the words. But let's give some love to this footnote button here, as this raises the question, why is death mentioned before life in this ayah? Why does Allah say He created death and life? So Ibn Ashur gives us one meaning which is represented here. Let me mention another. It's as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created our bodies, and even before the soul was breathed into us, the bodies had an expiry date on them. That's deep, huh? الذي خلق سبع سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور. You want to know more about Surah Al-Mulk? Come along. We've got here on Quran.com the new translation which you can find under the Layers tab. If you open up Surah Al-Mulk, and specifically Surah Al-Mulk, we can click here on Layers. He who created 7 heavens in perfect harmony. And there's another meaning which you'll find when you click on it yourself. You'll find no discrepancy in what the Compassionate One creates. So look again. Can you spot any cracks? Now there's something in this ayah which many people don't notice, because in the English language, when it says you, we don't always know who is being talked to. Is it one person or is it all of us? Here and subsequently, the singular you addresses each listener who is invited to ponder without being influenced by others. This is a beautiful meaning that Ibn Ashur explains. And in that spirit, let's also go along here to the Reflections tab. Here we can find lots of individual reflections. Each person who is reading the Quran is sharing through our sister platform, QuranReflect.com, their own perspectives, and this is all checked by scholars and other reviewers who can give positive feedback. Here is Sheikh Fahim, who is pivotal to that team. And here is a reflection which I think is particularly beautiful about how this ayah tells us to look for perfection in things and not to look for imperfections. So even when we're struggling with things in life, maybe we can find what is actually beautiful and intended behind that rather than focusing on what hurts us. Deep, huh?
ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير.
Just can't get enough of Surah Al-Mulk, come on. Maybe this month you are wanting to practice and develop your recitation. Now, if you go into the settings, you can go into the Tajweed Mus'haf, and this displays the text with these colors that help you to apply the Tajweed rules. But maybe you don't know how to read the Arabic text yet. So in the translation menu, you can also select to see transliteration, and this can help you to know roughly how to pronounce the ayahs. If I go down to ayah number 4, let's open up the layered translation. Then keep looking over and over. Your sight will come back to you defeated and worn out. And of course, we always want to expand and know more. Then keep looking and ponder the creation over and over. Your sight will come back to you defeated, having found no flaws and worn out from the attempt. So the other thing that, of course, we all love to do is to listen to the recitations. If I click here.
ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير.
So one of my absolute favorite reciters, Mahmoud Khalil Al-Husari. And if we go here into the Arabic, we can select reciters. We have, of course, a wide range of reciters. Many of your favorites are here. So let's make the most out of this site and benefit and bless our ears. Assalamu alaikum.
ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير.
We are still studying Surah Al-Mulk together. Come in, come in. Of course, with the Arabic text of the Quran, on Quran.com we can also select a number of different translations. There are a number of different translations in English alone, and of course in other languages. Here I've selected Gujarati and Chinese just by way of example. And this can help us to compare and to think more deeply. But if we click here on layers, we have this brand new translation, this interactive one, which we can also expand. This is based on the tafsir of At-Tahir ibn Ashur. And we have adorned the nearest heaven and the view from earth with great bodies and stars like lamps, and made some of them, that is meteorites, into missiles defending divine secrets against the devils, and we have prepared for them the torment of the blaze. So we want to see comparison, and we want to go deeper by clicking on the footnotes. This is all the task that lies in front of you, to explore this surah and to go into more depth day after day. Cool, huh?
وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير.
You've been studying Surah Al-Mulk. I hope you've been memorizing one ayah each day through this blessed month. Let's have a look at ayah number 6. And all who disbelieve in their Lord, and here we have some additional tafsir from At-Tahir ibn Ashur, who disbelieve and associate partners with him will have the torment of hell, and what a wretched destination it is. But let's just take a step back. Before we begin the study of any surah, it's very helpful to have an overview, which you can find here at the top of every surah, a button called Info. And here there's some information which has already been there before, and a new one which we've added this year from Tafsir of Ibn Ashur. It's summarized, providing themes and purpose, context of revelation, place and time, name, and how many ayahs the surah contains, and then a beautiful overview covering the topics of each surah, allowing you to have a bird's eye view before you swoop in to learn more. Cool, huh?
إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور.
May Allah protect us from the hellfire. We're still exploring Surah Al-Mulk, and here we came to ayah number 7. As they are thrown into it, they hear a choking sound from it as it boils up.
And a lot of the time you would understand this only when you have been reading in context. And you can use these buttons at the top of the screen to go left and right through the surah. And of course, outside of the study mode, you can scroll ayah by ayah like this, as well as using the reading mode, which takes you through an entire page. And now you can also have a reading mode in translation as well. So all you have to do is select the translation that you want to look at, and then you will see as if the entire page has been presented for you in a flowing translation. This is something new which we have developed to enhance your reading experience. But even let's look at some of the core learning experiences that we have on Quran.com. If you go to the homepage, you find here Start Learning, See More, and these are the learning plans. In this are structured lessons which guide you through different themes of the Quran, specific surahs of the Quran, and instructions on how to ponder and benefit from the ayat of Allah. Some of these I've written myself, such as 5 lenses to reflect on the Quran, and indeed how to explore the Quran one ayah at a time. And right at the top, of course, is our learning plan for Surah Al-Mulk. So if you didn't already, then sign up to that, and you get information every day on one of the ayahs in Surah Al-Mulk, word by word breakdown, and ways to reflect and benefit. Great, huh?
تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير.
We've reached ayah 8 of Surah Al-Mulk. And every day we're exploring this new layers feature and the study mode. And here we've got a tafsir which is based on At-Tahir ibn Ashur. If we click expand, we can get that wider meaning, almost bursting with fury. Of course, by going back one ayah, we can see the context of what is being described. Every time a doomed group is thrown in from yet another nation, its angelic keepers ask them reproachfully, "Did a warner not come to you?" So of course it's beautiful to appreciate the ayah as a whole and to take its general meaning. But with the word by word feature, you can go deeper into one word at a time.
تكاد تميز الغيظ فوج.
And when you click on it, you can hear how it's pronounced. You can see the transliteration, which helps you to pronounce it as well. And you can see the translation of each word, one by one. This is a great way to take your first steps in learning the Arabic language. And don't we all want to know how Allah spoke to us in the language that He sent down the Quran? Try it out today.
قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير.
We have reached ayah 9 of Surah Al-Mulk. Come, let's go a little deeper into the meaning here. They reply, meaning those who are being thrown into the hellfire, "Yes, indeed, a warner did come to us." Let's expand this now with the tafsir of Ibn Ashur. "Yes, indeed, a warner did come to each group among us, but we denied them and said God has not sent down a single thing." Now there's a question, who says the next phrase, "In antum illa fi dalalin kabir"? The first translation here is based on the view that this is a separate statement and the angels are saying it back to those unbelievers who are now being punished. So if you click on the line, we can open up the alternative translations. So the first one, "and said God has not sent down a single thing," end quote. The angels rebuke them. "You are now to suffer in nothing but the result of your great misguidance." So that's the first meaning, and this is in fact the meaning that Ibn Ashur happens to prefer. The second meaning, though, as he tells us, is that this can be a continuation of what the people are reporting that they said to their messengers. So we said, "and said to them, God has not sent down a single thing. You and your followers are in a major state of error. That is all." And you can click also to read the explanation. But what it boils down to is that this is a question of who is saying this particular phrase. And our translation is the first where you can see these two things right next to each other. And you can even see that possibly they are both true in their own way. It could be that those people had said those words to their messengers, and that is why those words are now being directed them in a bitter twist of irony. Deep, huh?
وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير.
May Allah protect us from the hellfire. This ayah, ayah 10, is translated like this. The people go on to say, if we had only listened and followed the messenger, this is with the additional tafsir from At-Tahir ibn Ashur. If we had only listened and followed the messenger, or used our reason to appreciate the signs, we would not have ended up among the denizens of the blaze. So this opens up many things to my mind about the role of listening and thinking, the role of revelation and reason. So what I like to do is to go and bookmark an ayah. I can set it as my reading bookmark just to say, this is where I am. Like in your physical mushaf, you may use the string or a bookmark to say, this is where I was reading and this is where I'm going to start next time. But also you can save this ayah to any collection that you want. So here I've made one, which I've called Reason. And here I can save every time I find an ayah that somehow touches on thinking, reasoning, using our mind and pondering on the signs. This way I can come back to those ayahs and study them together. Cool, huh?
فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسحقا لأصحاب السعير.
Allah protect us from this outcome. Ayah 11 of Surah Al-Mulk. Here we are in the layers feature in Quran.com. We can expand this tafsir, and so they admit their fault, which earned the punishment. This is crucial to understanding the point of the ayah. So damned be the denizens of the blaze from every species and nation. We already explored last time about bookmarking an ayah. Let me show you also that we can make a note on an ayah, either through the bookmark or by clicking here on add a note or reflection. It's very important that whenever some thought comes to your mind, you don't let that just fizzle away or float away into the clouds or just get lost and forgotten. Instead, we want to make a note of these things so we can come back to them, so we can benefit ourselves, so we can remember what Allah inspired us with at that moment. So here, for example, I'm thinking about what this ayah says about admitting fault. What's the point of admitting fault when it is too late? Instead, we should take the time to admit fault while we have the chance. After you've thought about your reflection, you can save it privately, or you can go ahead and post it to QuranReflect.com. If you do post it, then there is a team of reviewers there who will have a look at what you've posted. They will let you know if there's anything that needs fixing or improving. And inshallah, it can reach other people. What inspired you can also inspire them, just as you can read other people's reflections on Quran.com through these tabs or on QuranReflect.com. Why don't you try it out today?
إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير.
May Allah make us among them. Here we are studying Surah Al-Mulk. And if we go now to Ayah 12 and click on the Layers tab, you can see here our translation based on Tafsir Ibn Ashur. Those who fear their Lord without seeing Him are guaranteed forgiveness and a grand reward. So of course, one of the ways that we can appreciate these meanings more deeply is to click Expand Tafsir and find these explanatory phrases. In contrast, those who fear their Lord even without seeing Him are guaranteed forgiveness for their past and their slips in the future, and a grand reward for their faith and deeds. So this ayah, when I was translating it, reminded me of one which I had already translated in Surah Yasin. So let's see now a feature called Pin and Compare. If I pin this present ayah here, I can also go between this ayah and the ayah in Surah Yasin, which is number 11. And I can click, for example, on the tafsirs and go between these ayahs. I can look at the tafsir of this ayah and of this ayah. I can go into Arabic tafsir. Here we have tafsir of Ibn Ashur. And I can go into English tafsirs, which include tafsir Ibn Kathir and a number of others. And of course, Surah Yasin is special to me because we have already released the whole of the tafsir of Surah Yasin as a PDF, which you can find if you go to ibnashur.com/Yasin. And it's free.
وأسروا قولكم أو اجهروا به إنه عليم بذات الصدور.
Come in to learn about Ayah 13 of Surah Al-Mulk. If I open up the Layers tab, the basic translation says, now you may keep your statements secret or say them out loud. He well knows what lies within the chests. But as you're reading this, perhaps like me, you would wonder, why is this being said to people? What is the context of that? And this is something which we need tafsir for. Here in this Layers tab, we have the Expand Tafsir, we have the help of the insights of Muhammad al-Tahir ibn Ashur. So who is being spoken to? What kind of statements are being referred to? We have a footnote which helps us to understand this. Ibn Ashur quotes something from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, and this is about the unbelievers who try to keep some of their statements secret in the hope that, as they put it, the Lord of Muhammad will not hear us. And this is something which we can find reported in the Tafsir of Al-Qurtubi as well. So if we go back to the expanded translation, now you unbelievers may keep your statements against the Prophet ﷺ secret or say them out loud. Either way, he well knows what lies within the chests of all people. Deep, huh?
ألا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير.
Ayah 14 of Surah Al-Mulk. Let's dive in. You might have seen already that you can have the translation of each Arabic word just below. And the phrase man khalaqa is translated here as the one who created. But if we go into the Layers tab, we can see here Al-Tahir bin Ashur's translation. Should he who created people not know their secrets? And beyond that, he is the subtle, the aware. But this underline is very important. It tells us that there's more than one meaning here and more than one translation possible. If we click on it, you can actually see the alternatives. Should he not know the secrets of those he created? That's meaning number one. Should he who created people not know their secrets? This is meaning number two. And if we click on either one of them, we can replace the text within the translation itself. This is a great way to get hands-on, to experience the meaning by diving in yourself, by touching and getting response. And we can click here also on the footnote, which tells us some information about the words Al-Latif, Al-Khabir. And this is just the beginning, because this translation is going to give us a lot more in terms of the meanings of words, including the names of Allah and all the richness of the Arabic language. What I want you to do is to think about this phrase. أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ. Does he who created not know, or does he not know those whom he created? Think about that whenever we are looking for guidance. Shouldn't we ask the Creator? Think about it when we hear some ruling from Allah. Shouldn't we trust the Creator? And when we experience something in our life which might be difficult, shouldn't we trust that He's the one who created us and He knows what's best for us? Deep, huh?
هو الذي جعل لكم الأرض ذلولا فامشوا في مناكبها وكلوا من رزقه وإليه النشور.
Come here. Ayah 15 of Surah Al-Mulk is deeper than you ever imagined. If we look at this word manakibiha, the basic translation which we see here is its paths, its roads. And this raises a question for Arabic speakers, because doesn't manakib mean shoulders? We need answers. There's a new feature here in the study mode of Quran.com which is called Answers. And here you'd see questions which are being asked by people nowadays, or questions that were asked in the past. And here we have the answer to this very question about manakib from the tafsir of Ibn al-Jawzi. He's summarizing here the perspectives of the Salaf and the early generations of Muslims. Some said it's roads, some said it's mountains, and some said its sides. And this brings us closest to this sense about shoulders, because as it says here, a man's mankibs are his two sides, or similar to meaning shoulders. But this is going to be much cleared up when we click on layers and we see what does Ibn Ashur describe about this ayah. Let's expand the tafsir. He it is who placed the earth at your disposal like a tamed beast. Now you're starting to see, why is the earth being compared to something that has shoulders or haunches? So continue to walk gratefully through its junctures, to explore its expanses, and eat from what He provides you from it. And unto Him is the resurrection from your earthly graves. If you click on the footnote, you can find some clarification and explanation about this imagery. The taming of the earth is a great sign of divine power. This is like how Allah has described a certain type of cow in Surah Al-Baqarah as dhalul, the same word that we see in this ayah. And He says in Surah Yasin, فَمِنْهَا رَكُوبُهُمْ وَمِنْهَا يَأْكُلُونَ. The animals that Allah has granted us, He's given us the opportunity to ride on them, and He has given us the opportunity to eat from them. And that is what the earth is like as well. Deep, huh?
أأمنتم من في السماء أن يخسف بكم الأرض فإذا هي تمور.
Come, let's talk about Ayah 16 of Surah Al-Mulk. Here on Quran.com we have our Layers tab, which presents the explanation by Muhammad al-Tahir ibn Ashur and translated by your humble brother. Do you feel safe from the one in heaven causing the earth's upheaval around you, so you find it all in convulsion? Here if we expand, we can see a little bit more explanation. Do you who disbelieve and challenge His authority feel safe from the one who holds all power in heaven, causing the earth's upheaval? So this is an explanation of what is intended by man fis sama, assuming that that is referring to Allah Azza wa Jal Himself. And there is another perspective which is represented here. If you click on the word, you can see an alternative translation that it may refer to those angels appointed for punishment in heaven. And in a way, these two opinions boil down together into one. Our task as students of the Quran isn't to get caught up in debates over what we believe and how we believe. But what is important is to go to the Quran and understand it in the best possible way. Here in the study mode, we can also click on the Tafsirs tab, and we can see a whole variety of explanations that have been given by the scholars of Islam. Here in English, for example, we have the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir and certain others, and we have a number of different languages which we can access to see the explanations in different languages, and of course, most importantly in the Arabic language if we're able to access that. So let's try to push ourselves further in our understanding.
أم أمنتم من في السماء أن يرسل عليكم حاصبا فستعلمون كيف نذير.
Ayah 17 of Surah Al-Mulk. As always, we want to click and we want to expand, we want to know more. Or perhaps you feel safe. Even who is this you? We may need to go back one ayah to remind ourselves who is being spoken to. It is those who disbelieve and challenge the authority of Allah. Perhaps you feel safe from the one in heaven, let's expand again, the powerful one in heaven, or those angels in heaven, unleashing a torrent of stones or a violent whirlwind upon you. Then you will know the reality of my warning. Now you may be wondering why these particular punishments, or you may not be wondering. Either way, click on the footnote and you can find an answer from Tafsir ibn Ashur. But I'm not going to do that for you. You have to do something yourself. Look here in the Reflections tab. Let's remind ourselves about this very valuable feature that you find here on Quran.com through our connection with QuranReflect.com, the dedicated reflection platform which connects people all around the world. Here we have a reflection from someone called Sajid. I don't know him, but I know that he said something very beautiful here, reflecting on this ayah about how we sometimes suffer certain things and we think that we're being punished. How do we have this sense that God is pelting us with stones? This is something which has come to Sajid's mind as he's reading the ayah. And so he puts those thoughts down, he shares them on the platform, and that allows him to receive some feedback from scholars and reviewers who can help him to understand this better. And if I feel that I'd like to encourage him, I can click here to comment. It will open up on QuranReflect.com. I can share a comment and I can also post my own reflection later on. Cool, huh?
وَلَقَدْ كَذَّبَ الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِهِمْ فَكَيْفَ كَانَ نَكِيرٌ.
Ayah 18 of Surah Al-Mulk. As always, we need to read things in context to understand them well. And in this translation, we have expand tafsir, and we can see a little bit from Shaykh ibn Ashur that helps us to connect it to what came before. Believers, would such people feel safe, even though the people who went before them certainly denied their messengers similarly? and they know how terrible was my rebuke each time. Maybe we come to an ayah and we feel like we'd like to share the khair, spread the word of the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, convey from me even if one ayah. We have a little share button here which gives you this opportunity to send it on the various social media platforms, and even to do an advanced feature which is generate a video or image which contains this ayah.
كذب الذين من قبلهم فكيف كان نكير.
And you can choose various options here as to how you want to share it, with a reciter, with a different translation. And in addition to this, we have some advanced features here under these three dots. As well as pin and compare, we have advanced copy and we have embed widget. This is another brand new feature on Quran.com. Go in and try it out. If you are someone who runs a website or would like to embed the ayahs of the Quran in a beautiful way, you have lots of options open to you. May Allah bless all the developers who worked on this and all those who are using this to spread the word of the Quran.
أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فَوْقَهُمْ صَافَّاتٍ وَيَقْبِضْنَ مَا يُمْسِكُهُنَّ إِلَّا الرَّحْمَنُ إِنَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ بَصِيرٌ. Assalamu alaikum. Ayah 19 of Surah Al-Mulk. On Quran.com/67, we have the brand new layered translation. If you click on this button here, this translation based on the tafsir of At-Tahir ibn Ashur. Let's look at these two words, صَافَاتٍ وَيَقْبِضْنَا. These are some typical translations we can get if we click here or if we go through the list of translations. But one of the beautiful things about these words are their forms. Safat is a noun which describes a state of being, is ismu fa'il. And yaqbidna is a present tense verb. So there is some difference between the constant state of these birds, which is also beautifully expressed in the long mad as we recite it, Safatin wa yaqbidna. The noun describes something which lasts for a long time, and the verb describes something which is happening recurrently. So our translation tries to capture what we can of this nuance. Have they not looked at the birds above them, with wings extended and contracting? So we have a word extended and contracting. And this is clearer in the expanded translation, with wings extended to soar and contracting to push them higher. They should see that none holds them up but the compassionate one. The unbelievers should see that none holds up these birds, and they should reflect on how Allah gives His care to those who depend upon Him. Deep, huh? أَمَّنْ هَذَا الَّذِي هُوَ جُنْدٌ لَكُمْ يَنْصُرُكُمْ مِنْ دُونِ الرَّحْمَنِ إِنِ الْكَافِرُونَ إِلَّا فِي غُرُورٍ.
Come, Ayah 20 of Surah Al-Mulk. So far we have been reading in this blessed month of Ramadan, not just in terms of quantity, but of course quality as well. And as we're reading the Arabic Quran, we can make use of these reading modes at the top of the page. We have Arabic reading mode, and here if you go into the settings, you can also change which mushaf, which script, which font and style that you prefer to read from, including the Tajweed mushaf, which gives you pointers about the rules of applying the tajweed. And here we have also the English reading mode, which has a letter A, and that gives you as well whichever translation that you might select. Now the beautiful thing about Arabic reading mode that many people don't know is that if you click on the number at the end of the ayah, so here ayah 20, it will take you into the brand new study mode. And this is where you can encounter things like the layered translation, which tells us, now who can you claim to make up your army that aids you other than the compassionate one? The disbelievers are in nothing but a state of delusion. Of course, as before, we can expand this meaning. We can also explore the various forks in meaning and read about the explanations for these various things. All of this is due to Allah's grace and then by the hard work of the team at Quran Foundation not just of engineers, but of scholars who are dedicated to providing you this content. Why not support us by becoming a monthly donor? You can click through at the top of the page to find out how to give something every month, however small, that helps us to fulfill our mission. Allah bless you all.
أَمَّنْ هَذَا الَّذِي يَرْزُقُكُمْ إِنْ أَمْسَكَ رِزْقَهُ بَلْ لَجُّوا فِي عُتُوٍّ وَنُفُورٍ. Ayah 21 of Surah Al-Mulk. Yesterday I spoke about the reading modes on Quran.com. We have got an English reading mode which has been prepared brand new for you. And actually this is just the first step of something that we are developing together at Quran.com. This will be not only structured according to pages, as you can see here, Professor Abdul Halim's translation, broken into the divisions of the Mus'haf pages. But we are going to develop new sections and paragraphs for all the translations that you can read on Quran.com that allow us then to study them more carefully. And here, of course, if you click through of any of the translations into the study mode, you can explore our new translation based on the tafsir of Ibn Ashur. And you can see here also the fork which existed from the previous ayah as well. Or who can you claim? Or who are these that will provide for you if he should hold back his provision? Yet they persist in arrogance and aversion. Indeed, all the provision is from Allah, and we are seeking you to share some of what Allah has given you to support our mission during this blessed month and during these blessed last few days of Ramadan. If you scroll onto any page on Quran.com, you should be able to find a link to donate. And if you follow through here, you can become not just a one-off donor, but even a monthly supporter of our mission to develop these tools and resources that open up the Quran for you. أَفَمَنْ يَمْشِي مُكِبًّا عَلَى وَجْهِهِ أَهْدَىٰ أَمَّنْ يَمْشِي سَوِيًّا عَلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ.
What a powerful image here in Ayah 22 of Surah Al-Mulk. How will we understand this? We will look in the layered translation. Let's try reading it without the expansion first. So who is better guided? A man who walks hunched with his face to the ground, or one who walks upright on a straight path? Let's expand it to see a little bit more about what is intended here. Who is better guided? A man who walks hunched with his face to the ground to find his way on a twisted path with conflicting directions. Look at the complexity of this image as Ibn Ashur understands the words of the Quran. Or one who walks upright on a clear and straight path. If we click here in the footnote, we get a little bit more insight from the Mufassir, Muhammad al-Tahir, Ibn Ashur. And one of the beautiful things is he mentions a number of different ayahs that are related to this imagery in the ayah of Surah Al-Mulk. So I've gone ahead and searched them up and pinned them to the top so I can compare and I can learn from the various ways that the Quran speaks about those who are lost and those who have found the way. So Yusuf a.s. is saying, are diverse gods better or God who is the one? And in Surah Al-An'am, this is my path leading straight, so follow it and do not follow those diverse paths which will lead you away from it. And this is contrasted with someone who knows where they are going. Again in Surah Yusuf, say, this is my way, based on clear evidence, I and all who follow me. So look what happens when you open up the Quran and allow it to lead you through its many ways of guidance. And with this, we will have also a feature very soon here in the study mode called Related Ayahs. So look out for that. And please donate this month in order to support our mission. May Allah bless your wealth, your lives, and your family.
قل هو الذي أنشأكم وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون.
Ayah 23 of Surah Al-Mulk brings a question to my mind about this last phrase, قليلا ما تشكرون. I can open up on Quran.com in the study mode, in the translation mode, a number of different translations, and I can put those together and compare them, and these translations tell us about this last phrase, yet you hardly give any thanks. How little you pay gratitude, little are you grateful, etc., etc. So this raises a question in my mind. Are these unbelievers who have been given all these blessings, are they even a little bit grateful? And if I ask this question, I'm not the first. People asked this before. The scholars asked this question. And here we have the answers feature on the study mode, which will raise this question and give us the answer. The question here is, what is the meaning of little do you give thanks? When we click on that, we get an answer which is taken from the tafsir of Ibn al-Jawzi. This is a fantastic new feature, a very important development on Quran.com, which I hope you're going to support during this blessed month by joining as a monthly donor. Ibn al-Jawzi says, the first opinion is that these people do not give thanks at all. And the second opinion is they give thanks, but only a little. Now, if we go into the brand new translation based on tafsir of Ibn Ashur, we can actually see this reflected. Ibn Ashur's translation, or the translation based on his tafsir, says, say to them, Prophet, it is he who brought you into being and gave you hearing, eyes and reasoning hearts, though you are hardly thankful, if at all. So this last little phrase is an explanatory aspect which is a part of tafsir, and the footnote below can explain to you why it is worded in that way. Cool, huh?
قل هو الذي ذرأكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون. Come in for ayah 24 of Surah Al-Mulk. Before we dive back into the surah, let's give the homepage of Quran.com some love. There's a lot of things here that maybe you haven't appreciated. For one thing, you can sign up and have your own user profile. This will help you to track your own goals and keep track of your reading. So for example here, I've placed a bookmark that can take me back to Surah Al-Mulk. It's telling me I have a 2-day streak. Don't worry, I have another account and I'm reading more than that. But if I click here in Surah Al-Mulk, I can go to the ayah that I was last reading. And I can open up the Layers tab, this brand new translation based on Tafsir ibn Ashur. I can expand the tafsir to appreciate its meanings even more. Say, it is he who multiplied you on the earth, and to him you will be gathered with all generations after death. We at Quran Foundation need your support this Ramadan and beyond. Please join as a monthly donor and you can support the development not only of this content but of these tools and resources to be at the cutting edge of Quran technology, and this work is also depended upon by many others who are developing fantastic new apps out there in the wider market. Great, huh? ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين.
We are near the end of Surah Al-Mulk. Here we have this question which is posed and we're going to see what it means. Just before we do that, let's give some more love to the front page of Quran.com. Here we have got not just your own bookmark, you can set your own goals. How much do I want to read? How do I want to pace myself? I can set this according to some preset suggestions, but also according to whatever seems right to me. And down below, you will see Quran in a year. I'm going to tell you more about that, inshallah, tomorrow. Here we've got the learning plan, start learning, and you can go into various things that can give you some more depth about themes of the Quran and different things that we can learn about how to engage with the Quran. We have explore topics, something that we're trying to expand a lot, different things that we need to know about the themes, the meanings, and overall perspectives that someone might need even before they get into reading the Quran carefully. We have some community links and tools, and now some Quran apps which are featured here in our broader community of people who work with us in and with Quran Foundation. So at the top, of course, we've got a donate link. I hope that you will click on this and give something to support us in this month and beyond this month, inshallah. So let's click on my tab, Al-Mulk. This takes me back to my reading bookmark. And if I click on the layer translation, here is the new work done by the Ibn Ashur Center, the translation of Muhammad al-Tahir ibn Ashur's tafsir. Actually, more specifically, to translate the Quran according to the insights of his tafsir. And when we expand it, we see the meaning is, they ask repeatedly, when will this promise come about if what you Muslims say is true? What is this promise? We can get that clarified in the footnote. The most obvious thing is it refers to the Day of Judgment. But as many ayats also have this double-edged meaning, it could refer to something which was going to happen in this world, and that is the victory of the Muslims, such as at the Battle of Badr and the conquest of Mecca. Deep, huh?
قل إنما العلم عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين.
Ayah 26 of Surah Al-Mulk. We'll understand best, of course, if we've just been reading the ayah before. They ask, when will this promise come about if what you say is true? And the response here in this ayah, say, that knowledge lies solely with God, and my role is only to convey clear warnings. This is the answer of the Prophet ﷺ. How are we going to keep benefiting from the Quran, not just in this blessed month, the month of the Quran, but in this entire year, in which we are always called upon to turn to the Quran for guidance? Come with me to the homepage of Quran.com. We have something here which is called Quran in a year. You can click on this word calendar. You see here the number 46. We have divided up the year into 46 weekly readings. And this is not including Ramadan. So this is your journey from the end of this Ramadan to the start of next Ramadan. Have a look in here. You can find out more about the program. It's very straightforward. You can click here to see what will come in week 1, which begins in the month of Shawwal. You will have a specific range to read. You are encouraged to read this in a language that you understand. And you are provided some resources. You can read online through Quran.com. You can also open up a PDF with a simplified translation and some reflection prompts. And you can even click here on the Divine Book Club. This is a podcast led by myself in which we go through the translation of the Quran with just a little explanation to make it easy to understand. We give you all this completely for free, and we are 100% committed to this principle. So if you are able to support us and to support those who rely upon these resources, please do go up to this link at the top of the page to donate. You can become a monthly donor and give something which will be clearly a source of great reward for you, inshallah, and bring great blessings for you in this life and the hereafter.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون. Or in the reading of Yaqub al-Hadrami, هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون. Here we are in Ayah 27 of Surah Al-Mulk. And we're now starting to explore the multiple qira'at and the beautiful recitations of the Quran that have been passed down to us authentically from the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we can start to see that in some of the features that we already have on Quran.com, starting with the layered translation based on the tafsir of Muhammad al-Tahir ibn Ashur. So when they see it up close, let's expand it now. So when what is promised arrives and they see it up close, the faces of those who disbelieved are pained, and it is said to them by the angels, this is the very thing that you used to claim would never happen. تَدَّعُونَ. But as usual, when we see an underline, that means there is another translation possible. This is the very thing that you used to call for mockingly. And if you click through, you can see some explanation based on Tafsir ibn Ashur about these two authentic readings. Already we have this in the answers feature as well, based on the Tafsir of Ibn al-Jawzi. What is the meaning of this phrase? The two meanings are given, and they're related to the tafsirs of the Salaf. But coming right after Ramadan on Quran.com is an enormous achievement and a fantastic new feature for you to explore these qira'at, to see who are the readers, what are the various readings, and what sometimes are the various meanings or nuances, even that sometimes affect translation. And how do these things enrich our understanding of the ayat? In the study mode, if you click on the Qira'at tab, you can find how this particular word was recited in more than one way, تَدَّعُونَ and تَدْعُونَ. If you click on this, you can see who were the specific readers from among the 10 authentic canonical readers of the Quran who have conveyed these things to us. We can see the translations and we can see an explanation. Inshallah, tomorrow I'm going to show you more of the various qira'at in Surah Al-Mulk. So come back for that. قل أرأيتم إن أهلكني الله ومن معي أو رحمنا فمن يجير الكافرين من عذاب أليم.
Ayah 28 of Surah Al-Mulk. I know you want to look at the qira'at. We'll do that in a moment. But first, we have Tafsir of Ibn Ashur, the layered translation, the assured translation here on Quran.com. Say, have you ever considered whether God should cause me and those with me to perish, or instead show us mercy by extending our lives as He wills? In either case, who could protect the disbelievers from a painful torment they earned by their own actions? And by clicking on the footnote, we can also see a bit of the backdrop as to why this ayah is being said, to whom and for what purpose. So let's look at the new feature that we have coming on Quran.com right after Ramadan, inshallah, which is the Qira'at fact files. In many ayat of the Quran, you can find variations in the ways that the 10 canonical readers of the Quran have pronounced and recited various words. And some of those things are really just a matter of pronunciation, but some of them are to do with aspects of the word itself. And some of those things might have an effect on meaning and even on translation. So in our Qira'at fact files, we've focused on the kind of things that affect the word itself, whether or not it affects meaning. So in Ayah 3, for example, min tafawut is also recited min tafawut. And if you click on the Readers tab, you can also see who are the various readers who have given us these various transmissions going back to the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if we look through the surah, there are some other interesting examples. So the next one that we might say is in ayah number 11. فَسُحْقًا لِأَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ has another recitation as فَسُحُقًا لِأَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. And these two are options in the Arabic language which have been transmitted authentically and which have the same meaning. The next example that I would like to highlight is in ayah 22, where we have the word صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. And of course, this is much like we have in Surah Al-Fatiha. The word sirat is also pronounced by some as sirat with a sin, and is also pronounced with the sad having a certain z quality, so it becomes zirat mustaqim. You can see here by clicking on the readers table, who are the various reciters who are associated with these particular linguistic options. And down below, you can see a deeper explanation about where these various readings come from, how they relate to each other, and this is something that we're going to enhance with a full system of learning, a brief guide to the qira'at, and also a full learning plan all about the qira'at. So look out for this right after Ramadan, inshallah.
قل هو الرحمن آمنا به وعليه توكلنا فستعلمون من هو في ضلال مبين.
Or in the reading of Al-Kisai,
فسيعلمون من هو في ضلال مبين.
So we are exploring the ayat of Surah Al-Mulk. We've come almost to the end, and we've encountered a lot from the Tafsir of Ibn Ashur in this new layered translation now on Quran.com. And to understand an ayah like this well, of course you should read it in context, that there is this proposition before that even if Allah Azza wa Jal would cause the Prophet and the believers to perish, this doesn't save the unbelievers from the outcome of their own actions. And then Allah says, say, He is the compassionate one. Let's expand it. Say, we may expect that mercy and protection because He is the compassionate one. We have believed and placed our trust in Him, unlike you idolaters. So you will soon come to know. فَسَتَعْلَمُونَ, this is on the majority reading, through events that unfold, who between us and you is in clear misguidance. But in the other reading, of course, we can see here by clicking, we can choose the other translation to indicate the reading of Al-Kisai. فَسَيَعْلَمُونَ, so they will soon come to know. And this is now outside of the quote marks. So they will soon come to know, O believers, through events that unfold, who between the two groups is in clear misguidance. Let's go and see this under the new Qira'at tab, which will appear for you after Ramadan, inshallah. So in the Qira'at tab, we have this word, which is written here without all its dots, so we can see that it is both فَسَتَعْلَمُونَ and فَسَيَعْلَمُونَ. If you want to see which readers have each, you can click on this and see this brand new style of table which has never been invented before. Alhamdulillah. And down below you can see the explanation of each of the readings and an explanation which shows that in the end, these readings give complementary meanings. And all of this is based on the most authentic tafsirs and sources from our tradition. Cool, huh?
قل أرأيتم إن أصبح ماؤكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء معين.
So we reached the final ayah of Surah Al-Mulk, and what a journey it has been. Say, have you ever considered if your water were to sink beyond reach, then who could bring you flowing water? If we expand this in our new layered translation based on Tafsir of Ibn Ashur, we see a greater sense of what this is saying to the original hearers in Mecca. Say, have you ever considered the wells God has granted you in Mecca? If your water were to sink beyond reach, then who besides God could bring you flowing, accessible water? So this calls on all of us, and maybe if we put away that extra tafsir, it's a broader point that we all have the blessings of water. We have the blessings of so many resources, and we have access to the Quran. This is our flowing water of guidance. Are we making the most of it? Are we planning to keep drinking from this well of guidance after the month of Ramadan? Let's go here to the homepage of Quran.com, and we have here Quran in a year. You can click here on the word calendar. It can open up Quran in a year as a program that is designed for you to read the Quran starting the very first week after Eid. And this will take you through 46 weeks. Every week you'll have a little bit to read. You will grow in your appreciation of the basic message and meanings of the Quran as you're reading in a language that you understand, in a translation that you prefer, and you can find so many resources for you here on Quran.com. First of all, you can subscribe and you can use these various social media platforms to get reminders that encourage you to do your weekly reading. You can find a PDF which has an easy to use translation with some reflection and action prompts. And you can access the podcast, the Divine Book Club, where you have myself and a group of brothers reading through each of the weekly readings and sharing some discussion and reflection around it. And we have updated this whole system with your weekly readings for you to click through. And at the bottom, you can have your various questions about this program answered. But let's commit now. The Quran is not just for Ramadan. Sign up, be involved in this program, stay with us throughout the year. Stay cool.